Good morning, folks. I apologize if I sound a little different. I'm using my backup mic, so things are a little hard to speak sometimes. But thanks for tuning in. And here's the big story by Jason Schreier. He's now on Bloomberg, so we're no longer on Kotaku. And all of his big stories are nice and long and beefy. They're insider information on the industry or a particular company. This one's on the whole people of leaving Ubisoft, not only from Montreal, but also the Toronto studio, and the sexual misconduct or stories of sexism in the studio. And the other gaming sites have reported specifically on how that affects gamers or affect the games, in this case on Assassins Creed games. So in the example of Syndicate, the split between who you get to play as, the Evie and Jacob, it was originally 50-50. Now it's more 40-60 favoring Jacob because someone on the back decided to say, hey, we need more male representation in this game for whatever reason. There's the sexism. The other one has to do with Assassin's Creed Origins. So the original story saw the protagonist Bayek killed off early in the game to be replaced by his wife Aya. In the final game, Aya has a massively reduced role, with her only really starring in a few ship combat segments. Okay, whereas Bayek became the lead. But a year later, it was only going to feature Kassandra as its player character, and Haskowit, which is one of the guys who quit, claimed the games with women leads wouldn't sell. Now, I don't know if that's actually true. I don't have marketing data. I don't have the information there. And Kassandra's brother Alexios was included as an alternative lead. So Kassandra was still the actual real protagonist that the whole game was designed off. There was always an interchangeable option. So they could have the storyline of Alexios in there as well. So now it's like, that's interesting. I mean, it's not too different from Syndicate, but this is like, okay, who do you want to choose as to play this game? So if we look at actual stats for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it turns out 2 out of 3 players, or 2/3 of all players, played the Alexios route, or played as Alexios. And this dude from 2 years ago, Matt Kim on usgamer.net, says 2/3 of Assassin's Creed players were playing the wrong protagonist. So he thought Kassandra was the main protagonist. Maybe the writing was more skewed to her. Maybe there was more events that made more sense or flowed better or simply had a better story, which is interesting because one of the producers, what's his name? Scott Phillips. In playtesting, it was pretty much 50-50. They were like, okay, you do this, you do this. I mean, that's pretty much, you ask the playtesters to test everything. And apparently, they did not ask them to play as either the protagonist. They just did whatever they want. So fine. But it was skewed in Alexios' favor after sales. Now, that doesn't mean that sells better. That just means that's what players played as. If you're given the option between X and Y, and you chose Y, then great. Okay, fine. Good for you. That doesn't mean it sells better, though. Still an interesting part of the story, because we could say the same with Mass Effect. We know a lot more people played as male Commander Shepard than female. There's simply more male characters or male players playing as male characters. So it could be a business decision. It could be a sexist issue. Either way, that's the reality of it. Males want to play as males, and there's more male players playing these games. The rest of the article goes into various other people and other things that happened throughout the years. This is an example of, here, the Guillemot brothers left Michael, yada, yada. I mean, this could be any downtown pub or bar. These guys could be working on Wall Street. These guys could be working on Bay Street. It's just a bunch of guys in suits. Like, okay, great. Allegations of sexism and harassment, even in the Toronto studio. Other husband and wife teams telling people how to behave. Getting very flirty at Christmas times or other such parties. This is the Montreal one. Here we go. It's just, this is what you expect from a Jason Schreier article. I don't know what this has to do with anything. I don't know why we have to showcase most of the people who work on these games are male. And apparently a small number are non-binary, which is a non-issue. Who cares who works on what games? Wow, guys like games more than women. That's just, unheard of. We've known this forever. The fact that actual guys work on games makes perfect sense. Same with female authors of romance novels and female readers of romance novels. There's a lot more. They're made for them. So maybe Guillemot just knows his audience. Maybe he has stats to back it up. It's the underlying behavior, what came about from that, not the motivations I'm concerned with. He could be as a sexist prick as he wants. If the end result is we get a game where you get to choose male or female, who cares? And wow, bravo, most males end up choosing, or most players end up choosing males, the male lead. Who cares? This doesn't bother me. The fact they have the freedom, the option to choose these things, and Assassin's Creed Syndicate has you jump between two characters who are male and female, a brother-sister pair. That's fine. These are all good things. There's no underlying sexism in the game content itself. You see, I don't care about the corporate culture so much as it's not hurting anyone. So all this stuff about sexual misconduct is bad. That's a given. But it doesn't bleed over into the game. Aside from what we're saying, oh, well, you know what? Originally it was just Kassandra. Hey, maybe it's a better game by having the choice. I think giving players choice is always a better idea. Now, we have to look at the specific choice. I'd have to analyze the exact story, say, you know what? Kassandra is the better story. But hey, now you also have a mediocre story in Alexios, if that's the case. That's more replay value. So it's ultimately just more content. So would I prefer less content that's bad? Sure, I don't need less bad. Why would I want to replay an entire experience that's inferior? But I don't have the actual experience to know, well, this is at least worth your time. There is some elements of drama. There are some elements of character growth in Odyssey that I'm glad they put in. In general, I'd say that's fine. I'm not going to say either way whether you should or shouldn't play these games because what happened at Ubisoft. So, interesting story. This is just because I'm Canadian, and this is a French-Canadian based studio, and these were options when I was getting out of school, where to work, and I thought it was interesting. But hey, glad to see Jason Schreier's out of Kotaku and opening up the door on all these stories that we wouldn't otherwise have. So thanks for listening, guys. Hope you're having a great day.